The UFC represents the fight game. It is synonymous with MMA. It's just not possible to speak of MMA and not mention UFC in the same sentence. While the credit for a huge chunk of its success goes to the Fertitta brothers and the boss Dana White, you can't forget the fighters who leave a piece of themselves every time they step inside the octagon. After all, it's the fighters that the fans come to see and put their money on. There have been many memorable fights in the UFC that have made it possible for it to reach the pinnacle of success where it is right now. McGregor versus Khabib, Adesanya versus Pereira, Adesanya versus Pereira 2, Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards 2. There are too many to count. While some of them are direct clashes of styles, many of them are featured fights with stylistically similar fighters. Nonetheless, most of them delivered beyond their expectations. And now we have one such banger of a fight scheduled not too far from now. It will mark the former middleweight champion Alex Pereira's light heavyweight debut. Scheduled to co-headline UFC 291, it might just seem to be just another matchup between two 205-pounders. But lo and behold, there's more to it. Let's break it down bit by bit. But before we start, I just want to thank you guys for the overwhelming love and support that you have shown to our previous videos. So keep it up, do like our videos, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Now back to our story. Alex Pereira is pitted against the former light heavyweight champ Jan Blachowicz in his very first fight in the weight class. This will mark his light heavyweight debut in the UFC. However, this fight has way more to offer than marking another middleweight's move 20 pounds up. There's no question about the fact that both fighters possess the ability to end the fight with just one punch. While Pereira is called Poatan, which translates to stone hands, he is the only guy to ever finish Izzy. And not to mention, he did it twice in two different sports. On the other hand, Blachowicz is blessed with the nickname the legendary Polish Power, given his power to finish anyone with just one punch. While both men are primarily strikers, they also possess the same insane strength in their strikes. Just look at what Poatan did to Sean Strickland or Izzy. And while you are busy believing that the Brazilian might decimate Blachowicz, just look at what Jan did to Ankalaev's legs. He almost crippled him. And don't you dare forget what happened to Luke Rockhold. This fight will answer a huge question mark surrounding the powers of both men. The fans will get to know who packs more power in their fists. Can the legendary Power from Poland overpower the hands made of jaw-cracking stone? In the wake of Blachowicz versus Pereira, I have come up with a great phrase: one great fight leads to another. This bout between former champions will be a huge test for the Brazilian. However, if he manages to tear through the Polish, a crack at the light heavyweight gold is good as guaranteed to the Brazilian. This means Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira, another super fight. If you think calling this a super fight is an exaggeration, think again. This fight has a personal angle to it. Sweet Dreams won the belt by beating Glover Teixeira, mentor and friend of Pereira. The possibility to avenge his friend's crushing defeat should be enough to fuel Poatan to walk through Blachowicz. However, Jan is no joke either. Just in his last fight, he showed the world that he has enough fuel to go toe-to-toe with young guns. Luke Rockhold became the middleweight champion back in 2015. In his very first title defense, he lost the belt to Michael Bisping in devastating fashion. Sometime later, he moved up 20 pounds and made his light heavyweight debut. And guess who he was pitted against? Jan Blachowicz. Afterward, what he did to Rockhold was painful even to watch. Suffice to say, he smoked him. Scarily enough, Pereira is more or less also following the same trajectory. Won the middleweight gold, lost it in his very first defense, and now moving up a weight class to fight who? Jan freaking Blachowicz. All we can do is hope that he doesn't meet the same fate as Luke Rockhold, because the Prince of Season can still throw them hands and kicks too. beating the Polish will pave Alex's way to fight the champion, Jamal Hill. If he manages to beat the champ, he'll join the rare club of two-division champs. Interestingly enough, in this regard, he will surpass his arch-rival Israel Adesanya in terms of the number of divisions conquered. If you remember, Adesanya had once challenged for the light heavyweight championship but fell short in his efforts to secure a dub and a new belt. And guess who he had fought then? Blachowicz. If Pereira manages to beat him, he would get one step closer to winning the belt, a feat that even Stylebender failed to achieve. It seems to be a play of destiny where all three are interlinked with each other. Just imagine what would happen if Pereira beats the legendary Polish power. They will be analogous to rock, paper, scissors. Blachowicz beats Izzy, Izzy beats Pereira, and Pereira beats Blachowicz. They are each other's kryptonite. Maybe I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, but this is hella interesting. There's a lot in line for both men involved. While a loss on Blachowicz's part would effectively mean his glory days are probably over, another L in Pereira's record might make things a bit uncomfortable for him. The top 5 of both divisions are straight killers. A loss at 205 pounds will mean either he stays in this division or moves down to 185. However, moving down will mean fighting the top 5. Most of them are blessed with insane wrestling and ground game. Fighting them might not be a wise move on the Brazilian's part, though if he chooses to stay at light heavyweight, he will have to deal with guys like Ankalaev, Yuri Prochazka, and company. While these guys possess great stand-up, they also have a highly durable ground game. So, even if Poatan manages to conquer his next adversary, he will need to put some serious work in his ground game sooner or later. So, who to put your money on? If I were you, I'd have played both sides of the fence because it's hard to predict. So I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the light heavyweight showdown. However, just a simple tip if you still want to bet, just wait if Drake bets on the co-main event. Bet on the fighter who Drake bets against and you should be fine. So, who are you rooting for, Stone Hands or the legendary Polish Power? I'm excited to see who wins this one. It's going to be fireworks for sure. One thing that I forgot to mention, Glover Teixeira has beaten Blachowicz. So, what do you think? Will Teixeira be able to train his student to beat his former rival the way he did to become the champ? Or will the Polish avenge his defeat at the hands of the mentor by decimating the pupil? Questions are plenty. All the questions will be answered on 30th July when both men share the cage. Do let us know who you think will win this in the comments below. On a closing note, I'd like to thank you guys for the immense love and support you have been showing me since the beginning of my journey. However, we still have a long way to go, and that is only possible with your support. So, if you are new to my journey, do subscribe to my channel and turn the notification on so that you get notified every time a new video drops. Finally, to the ones who have been around for a while, keep sharing the content with MMA fanatics around you. Till then, goodbye and take care.